Yes, sir.
Okay, Apta, Vania, you will be the third contender of the Thesis defense. Today we are going to have that, and then it will be the same like what I told you guys on the opening. You're going to have 10 minutes maximum to explain your content thesis, and then at that one you're going to have the Q&A, and then you're going to consider about what kind of the requirement questions. I'm going to mention the name from your senior based on their thesis defense, and I want you to please explain what kind of the finding and then what was the result of the thesis defense of your senior. Okay, Pania?
Okay, sir.
Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay, let's start this thesis defense here. We're setting basmala together. Yeah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
And time is yours. Before you're going to explain your content thesis, I'm gonna mention the name here, Sylvania. Okay, Sylvania, what was the result of the thesis defense by Sylvania Gusti? What is it? Sylvania Gusti Herdiana. Yeah, come on, what is it?
That Sylvania, I forget about the title, but she's thesis with use RMD, and then for the result, for the result, I forget, sir.
Okay, just mention it. Any kind of result will be fine. Come on, what is it? Because this is the required questions, the requirement questions. If you cannot answer this one, I'm gonna ask the next contender to join us. Come on.
Okay. I think I for the result from other other students like from 2017 cancer.
Okay, come on, that's okay.
Okay. I already watched from Tresna Nur Andini with the title is Cognitive Diversity of EFL Students, Scaffolding Method to Improve Speaking Ability. And she used a quantitative method with pre-test and post-test. And the result, she made the students of class 11 Science 1 and 11 Science 3 as a research sample. So after giving the treatments, the result of the score pretest of both classes and comparing with the post-test of both classes are significant. And the 11 Science 1 had more significant score comparing to the 11 Science 3. So the final score shows that T observation is higher than T table, which means that her research was successfully implemented. That's all, sir.
Okay, thank you very much for giving the report. Now, please, you have 10 minutes maximum to explain your content thesis. Best of luck, Apta, Vania.
Okay. Wait. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Apta Putri. So here I will present about my thesis defense with the title the feasibility of content analysis on Bahasa Inggris textbooks for 10 grade Senior High School. And for first chapter, the activities of teaching and learning between teachers and students will not be spared from the materials used in the classroom. Teaching materials must be made in accordance with the conditions of manufacture. And then the Ministry of National Education suggests that teaching materials are learning materials used to help students learn, and materials can be in the form of written or unwritten materials. So by using teaching materials, the teachers will more easily convey learning objectives to students, and students will better understand the teaching materials that will be studied. Therefore, textbooks play an important role in the learning process. Textbooks are important media for learning in education. From textbooks, teachers and learners can find knowledge and exercise, so it can train learners' abilities. The Ministry of Education and Culture of Indonesia mentioned criteria of textbooks in curriculum 2013. These criteria are: the first one, the textbooks were written based on the concept of curriculum, and the second is, in teaching there are two types of textbooks, students books and teachers book, and the next one is students textbook is concerned more about the base activity and not only reading materials. And the next is, each book consists of learning model and project that will be done by the students. And the last, teacher's book makes instruction for teachers in teaching the lesson to the students. And then the English textbook must then meet the textbook feasibility standards. The feasibility of the contents, there are three indicators that must be considered. The first is conformity on the material with competency standard and basic competence. And the second is accuracy of material, and the last is learning support material. So considering the explanation above, I have decided to conduct a research which focus on textbooks analysis with the title The Feasibility of Content Analysis on Bahasa English Textbooks for the 10th grade senior high school. Okay, and for the second chapter is about literature review. The first is textbooks. From Koningsword in Columbus 2011 state that textbook provide beneficial materials to teachers and students, but do not treat them as the master. It means that the teacher's role in interpreting the material is required in the teaching and learning process. In this way, students can clearly understand the material, and it also allows teachers to be more creative in teaching. So from the definition above, textbooks are books used for teaching and learning activities, especially in schools. These textbooks provide students and teachers with service that support the teaching and learning process, taking into account the curriculum. And the next, the function of the textbooks. English textbooks consist of chapters that provide different topics and levels of English. And then the function of textbook, as mentioned by Sitepu 2012 in Lubab 2015, are the first as a means of developing materials and programs in the educational curriculum, and the second one as a means of facilitating teacher the academic assignments, and the third one is as a means for facilitating the achievement of learning objectives, and the last is as means of facilitating efficiency and learning activities. And the next is about the idea of textbooks. The use of textbooks in teaching and learning activities must also have good quality. To get an idea of how good textbooks are, I provided some criteria from experts. Tarigan in Lubab 2015 mentioned several components that textbook should have in order to be considered as ideal. And the first is having foundation, principles, and certain points of view that underlie the clear concept used in textbooks. And the second is relevant to the curriculum. And the third one, attract readers in reading interest and able to provide motivation to the reader and can stimulate the activities of students. And for the next is feasibility of content. The feasibility of content is a group assessment about the content of textbooks. The feasibility of content includes three subcomponents. And the first is the material suitability with core and basic competence. And the second is the accuracy of materials. And the third one is supporting materials. For the materials suitability with core and basic, in this criterion of feasibility content, which is compatible with KI and KD, the criteria were divided into two sub-criteria, which is completeness and in-depth. For the accuracy of material, is the concept and definition contained in the textbooks are presented accurately to avoid misconceptions by students. And for the supporting material, where the content must contain three elements that become standard, so that the book is suitable for use among others. And these are up-to-dateness. The book must be up-to-dateness and relevant sources and development life of skill and development of diversity inside. Next is the third chapter. For the time and place, I have finished analyzing Bahasa Inggris textbooks on May until July 2022, and here was no specific place, a specific location for the study because it is a content analysis. For the method of the study, I use a content analysis, and the research design, I use a qualitative research as the research design. And then for the collecting the data, I use a documentation collecting data from 2013 high school curriculum. And then the documentation of the research is scoring tables and rubric assessment from BSNP or Badan Standar Nasional Pendidikan, and then data collected from textbook that make up the entire chapter. And then I have also used books and various research journal on textbooks content analysis as a guide in analyzing and interpreting the data. For technique of analyzing the data, I analyze each chapter of Bahasa Inggris textbooks, and then using rubric assessment, and then the rubric assessment has adopted from the BSNP, and after that, I analyze data and presenting it numerically in a descriptive table in a paragraph. And then in this step, after the required data has been collected, I present the data that is evaluated by giving each chapter a score from 1 to 4 score. Yeah, and the last step, I use a formula to help present the data and add it up to percentage of conformity of contents of the textbooks, show the level of fulfillment in the form of the number formula. So this is a finding and result. Yeah, based on the feasibility table in the research analyze and evaluated eight categories from 6 sample chapters in the Bahasa Inggris textbooks. I have analyzed and evaluated a total of 48 categories from the table. It can be seen that 38 categories of the sample have a very good content quality. Therefore, it can be concluded that 76% of learning in the Bahasa Inggris textbooks for 10th grade senior high students meet the requirements of the BSNP rubric assessment in terms of the appropriateness of the content of how textbook standards should be. So the conclusion is textbooks is good to use because only 2 of 8 subcomponents of content feasibility receive poor scores. The subcomponents are development of diversity insight and social functions. Each of these subcomponents only gets a score of 2, which can be categorized as bad. So the Bahasa Inggris textbooks for the 10th grade senior high students has fulfilled the requirements in curriculum 2013, and all of the subcomponents of the feasibility of content of the BSNP. Okay, I think that's all, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Apta, Vania. Who is your advisor?
Miss Lydia.
Okay, thank you. And then now let's try to check your first chapter. Please, your first chapter. Hello, Apta?
Sorry, wait, sir.
What is it?
This from here or first chapter, sir?
Okay, this one again. Now let's try to check your title first. You're mentioning here the title. Hello?
Hello? Yes, sir.
Okay, why it seems like I'm talking to using another device. How many devices did you use over there, Apta? It's only one device?
One device, sir?
Yeah, but why it seems like... Okay, can you hear that one? Hello?
Hello, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, my first question for you then. The feasibility of content analysis on Bahasa English textbook for the 10th grade of senior high school. Okay. You are using feasibility... Hello?
Hello.
Why when I talk it seems like... Okay, can you hear also the same?
Yes.
Mute it, please. Okay, try to mute your audio first, please.
Oh, okay.
Come on. Hello? Okay, now I guess no. Okay, no more sound. Okay, my first question for you. You are using feasibility of content analysis. What is the feasibility that you mean on your title here, Apta, Vania?
Sorry, sir. Can you repeat the?
Okay, let me repeat it. And then try to mute. It is the audio. I guess the problem is in your device. Yeah. The feasibility of content analysis. You are using the term feasibility here. What is it? Feasibility that you mean in your title, please.
Okay. Why use content feasibility? Because by content feasibility is a group of judgments about content of the textbooks. So by analyzing the content feasibility, it will be review from the aspect of content or material, presentation based on the scientific approach, presentation based on authentic assessment, language, and graphic. That's it, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, mute it, please.
Okay.
Okay, mute your audio, come on. There we go. And the next one, content analysis of Bahasa Inggris textbook for the 10th grade of senior high school. So what will be the aim of analyzing a content of Bahasa Inggris textbook? Come on, Apta.
The aim because of for the aim of I conducting this research, I hope that students will appreciate textbooks more than understand their functions, judging from result the study. Students will appreciate textbooks more when they understand their functions. Judging from result of the study, it is hoped that students can learn more about the textbooks they get from the schools, and then not for students but teachers too, that I hope that will prefer to use the best textbooks in teaching and learning process.
Okay, mute it. Don't forget after you talk, mute your audio because you have a problem on your audio. Okay, so the aim in conducting this research here to provide the best option for the English teacher, so they can use a proper kind of textbook when learning English. Okay, go to the next slide, please. Next slide, there we go. The background of this study, to be honest, I want you to please try to mention the significant kind of reasoning why that you really need to conduct this research based on the background of the study that you explain. Come on.
Why I really need to conducting this research, because not all English textbooks have a good quality. Moreover, many people like to argue that textbooks published by the government that are of low quality compared to books published from the private publishers. That's why I did this research to prove whether English books published by the government are feasible or not. That's it.
Okay, so you're mentioning about the quality of the textbook. When we try to analyze content of the textbook, we are not only come with the result of it, right? But we are going to propose also, okay, this will be a better kind of textbook that we can use for the students. Okay, are you proposing that one for the students for this research? Or it is only mentioning, okay, this is the quality of this book, blah, 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 blah. Are you proposing some kind of the quality for the textbook that you're going to provide for the students?
Yes, from the students.
Okay, what kind of the books that you provide for them?
Sorry, sir.
What kind of the book? Okay, try to mute yourself after you talk because you have the audio problem with you.
Oh, the problem of the book for the students. Yes, sir.
No. Every single time that you stop talking, try to mute your audio because it is not clear when I talk. There we go. Yeah. So you're mentioning you are also proposing some kind of a book with quality for the student, right? A book with quality. Can you mention it? What is it that you propose for your students? Because analyzing a content of English textbook, we have aim, we have the purpose of it, right? Okay, come on. What is it that you propose for your students or for the teacher? Come on.
As before, I mentioned that about quality of textbooks. That and then for that from the students propose that textbooks the students if the students not what not get the book the good quality of books.
Okay, that's enough. That's enough. Go with the next chapter. Go with the next chapter, please. Second chapter. Second chapter, please. There we go. Okay, for the literature review, you are using first textbook, second one, the function of the textbook, the ideal of the textbook, and then feasibility of the content. Your focus here is for the English textbook, right? And then when I saw your literature review, you were not mentioning any details of the English textbook. It is a random textbook. It can be written in Bahasa and it can be written in English. Maybe for the literature review, it will be better for you to put an English textbook, the function of the English textbook, and then the same also with the ideal of the English textbook, and then also with the feasibility of the content. Because your focus for this research here is for the English textbook, right? Not the random one, not the types of the textbook, okay? Not a random type of the textbook. Okay, Apta. Next, please, for the third chapter, come on. Third chapter, please. Okay, there we go. For the chapter 3, time and place of the study, method of the study, technique of collecting the data, and then technique of analyzing the data. I want you to ask you, how did you collect the data? It is based on the reading, reading kind of collecting the data. What is the instrument that he used to collect the data here? Apta. Okay, what is the instrument that he used to collect the data? Apta? Okay, you're still mute. The instrument that you used to collect the data, please. Go back with the third chapter. No, why did you keep on continue to the fourth and then the fifth chapter?
The instrument that I use for this research, this is I use a documentation in collecting the data, and then the documentation of this research, the instrument I from the documentation that I the documentation of this research is scoring table and rubric assessment from the SNP. That's the instrument from my research.
Okay, thank you. Mute, please. Okay, I hope next when you're going to join any kind of task with you, any kind of exam, any kind of tasks with you, you better try to, what is it? You have to prepare a good kind of device, because it's really disturbing, yeah? Okay, technique of collecting the data, you're mentioning some kind of scoring rubric of it, yeah? And for analyzing the books, you need some kind of criteria, step on it, yeah? So first you are going to read the complete books. You're going to read it, and then after reading process, you're going to make a classification based on the finding of it, and then that one you're going to do the analysis process. So you can come with some kind of conclusions. It is a proper one to use in a senior high school, or it is not a proper books. It is not a proper English textbook that we can use in a senior high school. Okay, Vania, is that clear? Now let's go with your fourth chapter, please. Fourth chapter. Okay, based on your finding, you're mentioning several things here. I'm gonna make it bigger first. You're mentioning subcomponent material suitability with core and basic component, and then the accuracy of the material, supporting material, and then the total. How did you can measure here? For example, the completeness of the item, you are putting, how to read this kind of figure? You're mentioning 4 here as the maximum score, right? And then where did you got the total amount of 6 over there? And then look at that one also, the score for the in-depth here, it is 2, and then the total amount here, it is 4. And then the social functions. Okay, can you try to re-explain this finding, please?
Okay. I got this table. Before I explain my instruments from rubric scoring rubric, that this table is the score from BSNP, Badan Sarana Nasional Pendidikan, and then in analyzing the data, I already explained that if after I analyze the chapter by chapter, and then from the chapter by chapter, from these subcomponents, completeness, in depth, and the other, so uh, I put the score from 1 to 4, and then yes, I put in the table. This is this table. And for the conclusion, this is from I get from the Sugiono Anas. This is the step of numerically.
Okay, wait a second. Mute your audio, please.
Wait, sir. Susah ini, sir.
Okay, there we go. My question here, one more time. Now let's try to have a look at the items. Yeah, the item, the completeness. Based on the possibility in 6 chapters, you're mentioning 6 over there, and then 6 here is the maximum score 4. Okay, and then in depth, now can we have a look at the second one? Yeah, the score here it is 2. What is it, 2? And then the total it is 4. Yeah, it's kind of strange. And then social function 1, and then the total here it is 5. And the next one, the generic structure 2, and then we got also 4, 3, and then blah blah blah. How to read this figure, please?
Okay. For the example, this is there are 2 subcomponents that get bad poor score. This is the social functions get the ones get the 2 score. I analyze 6 chapter, and then for one chapter have got the one chapter got the social function is 2 score, and then the development of diversity inside 2. So based on the table, there is I analyzed and evaluated the categories from 6 chapters, the total 48 categories, and then for the subcomponents that get one scores, get the 2 scores, get the 2 scores, because for social function, because I in process of analyze, I only found the descriptive text and transactional text to fulfill the social function in this chapter.
Okay, that's enough. That's enough. Now let's go with your conclusion. Let's go with your conclusion, please. Okay, the textbook is good to use because only 2 of the 8 subcomponent of content possibly receive poor score. The subcomponent are the development of diversity inside and social functions. Each of these subcomponents only get a score of 2, which can be categorized as that. Okay, based on the conclusions here, I want you to make another kind of conclusions based on what you explained, starting with the first, second, third, fourth chapter of yours, please.
Okay, so the conclusion of all of my thesis defense is these English textbooks for the 10th grade of senior high school has fulfilled the requirements in curriculum 2013 and all of the subcomponents of the feasibility of content and from the BSNP, that because I have analyzed 6 chapter, and then all of chapter, not all of chapter. I only analyze 6 chapters because for 1 semester, and then the result of this study at that have a score 76%. So the textbooks is good to use for students.
Okay, thank you very much, Apta, Vania, for joining our today's thesis defense. Yeah, I hope after you really completed giving the explanation and then answering all of the questions, you can pass for this thesis defense. And then we are going to talk for your revision, starting with the first chapter till the last chapter. I hope you're gonna see me as soon as possible. Okay. And then let's close this. That's Stephen here. We're reciting Hamdalah together. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Thank you very much. And then the last, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.